Cricket presents the Campfire, and thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Ashley Bullington. Today, we're taking a look at District 86A, which is our last Region 1 district. After realignment, this district consists of Arlington, Bowie, Sam Houston, Lamar, Martin, Grand Prairie, and South Grand Prairie. It will be a big year for Martin head coach Bob Wager. Not only will he be coaching his son on the field, but his daughter will be a varsity cheerleader as well. So Coach Wager will have at least 10 days where he can bring his family to work. Let's start things off by analyzing all the teams in our film session.
Arlington Martin went undefeated in district play and a couple rounds in the playoffs, but expect an even better year from the Warriors in 2022. All eyes will be on Javion Taviano at the cornerback position, but Wager brings back 11 other starters and some big-time punch on the offensive side of the ball. Sergio Snyder returns in the backfield, and athlete Zaire Barrow should stretch the field on the long balls. South Grand Prairie has a young group to put on the field this year, but 1,000-yard rusher AJ Newberry will be leading the offense as he will be a 3-year starter. Arlington Lamar went 2-8 last year, but the Vikings are huge in the trenches this year, led by Baylor commit Isaiah Robinson. Scott Peach brings back 12 starters from last year's team, with 7 of them being on the defensive side of the ball. Junior Braxton Hawkins and Jarvis Austin look to lead that unit. Arlington Bowie's D'Angelo Ponder is returning after throwing for nearly 2,000 yards last year, and his favorite target, Texas Tech commit Kelby Volson, will look to put up big numbers again for the Vols. Grand Prairie made it to the playoffs for the first time since 1989 last year. 300-pound offensive linemen returning to cause havoc on the field. Sam Houston went winless last year in district play, but new head coach Chris James will try to pick up some victories.
All right, let's dig even deeper into 86A as we bring in our Inside High School sports insider, Matt Diggs, along with producer Ward Vissold for our district breakdown presented by Cricket.
All right, it is district breakdown time. It is my main man, Professor Diggs. We're talking 86A, one of those rare North Texas 7-team districts. I say rare, in a couple of weeks we'll have another one, but right now it's rare. It's the Arlington schools, it's the Grand Prairie schools. Diggsy, you only have to finish in the top 4 to make it to the playoffs. You got to beat 3 teams. Who do you think these teams might be? I have a feeling who one of them might be, but what do you think about the other 3?
Well, who do you think the one is? Let's put you on the spot here.
I think it'll be a special year for Bob Wager and the Martin Warriors. I think they'll definitely be the one rising to the top.
See, I thought you were calling a guaranteed loss at the bottom, so I wanted to call you out who thought number 7 was going to be out this district, because I struggled in figuring out who number 7 in this district is going to be, and I don't even today. This is going to be one of those things where in December, some coach is going to send us a clip of me predicting a team number 7 who probably made the playoffs and be like, Diggs, you don't know anything. And when it comes to Arlington football right now, I don't know how much I know, because we are in such a state of turnover. I agree with you, Ward. I think the number 1 team is pretty much entrenched. But from 2 to 7, I think that you have wide variability. And I'm going to give it my best prediction. I'm going to give it my best guess here as you're throwing up clips and highlights of some really talented players. Because when we're talking from 2 to 7, there are some really talented players. Not to say that one of the best players in the state, and Martin, is not going to be heavily featured in our clips. But there are some really good players coming in from 2 to 7. But depth relative to Arlington ISD that I've seen in the past is really lacking. I got Arlington Martin number 1, South Grand Prairie number 2, Arlington Lamar number 3, Grand Prairie number 4, Arlington Bowie 5, Arlington High 6, and Sam Houston number 7.
Excellent. See you next week.
Cricket knows you work hard for your money, so they want you to keep more of it. Switch to Cricket and don't overspend another second. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Diggsy and Wiz will have even more about this district on our social media platforms this Wednesday. Now let's take a look at some of the athletes you should keep an eye on in this district and our players on the rise.
Arlington Martin's Javion Taviano is the best cornerback in the state. For the Warriors, though, Javion plays both ways as he gobbles up yardage as a running back as well. Taviano had 26 tackles, forced a fumble, recovered a fumble, and made a pick as a junior. Javion has above average athleticism and could very well transition into a safety if needed. Taviano has offers from just about everyone, including Texas, Michigan, and A&M. AJ Newberry is a 3-year starter at running back for South Grand Prairie. Last year, he had almost 1,200 yards and 20 touchdowns on the ground and another 3 touchdowns through the air. He has great vision with the ball in his hands and is a serious weapon in the passing game. Newberry verbally committed to play at Colorado. Arlington Lamar's Isaiah Robinson is holding down the offensive tackle position for the Vikings. He's virtually unmovable. Go ahead and try. I dare ya. He's 6'7" and 288 pounds with an 84-inch wingspan and a 10-inch hand. In other words, Isaiah is a large man. Robinson moves well on his feet and is fluid for a man his size. Isaiah is one of the top linemen in the country and verbally committed to Baylor this spring. At Sam Houston, the Texans have one of the most underrated players in the state in tight end Lafayette Koa. At 6'6" and 235 pounds, Koa is just as dangerous in the passing game as he is blocking. Last year, he caught 26 passes for 389 yards and 9 touchdowns for Sam Houston. And if the Texans get into the red zone, forget about it. Lafayette is too big of a target to stop there. KOA verbally committed to TCU.
Our Ward Facility got the chance to catch up with a coach in this district to talk about his team and the rest of 8-6A in our Media Day segment.
All right, it is Media Day, 8-6A. We are talking with Arlington Lamar head coach Billy Skinner. Coach, first year last year probably didn't go the way you had hoped, but did you see signs of improvement, something that you can work on during the spring and during the summer months to, go for that playoff spot in 2022?
No doubt about it. We were right there in quite a few games. Our last 2 games of the year, we went in double and triple overtime. So, and against really, really good opponents, really well-coached teams. We knew that an off season is one of those things that can help you get over that hump of those close games. And so really proud of how our guys competed last year. Really, really excited to see our guys compete this year and kind of maybe have a little bit more of a winning edge after having a full off season.
How was it for you personally? I mean, you're used to being in there in the locker room, putting on the pads, but now several years later, you got the coach's job there. How did you feel going in at your alma mater and ready to go?
Extremely grateful. I mean, the people who have come before me and with Coach Peach, having the opportunity to play for him, knowing there's a legacy here that you don't want to let down. You don't want to let anybody down that you've played with and that's come before you. So very grateful, but also extremely excited to get to work, extremely excited to work with our kids. North Arlington is a special place, and I tell anybody who will listen, we've got some of the best football kids in the state of Texas. I mean, they love this game. They love the sport. They eat, sleep, drink football. And so it's a great spot.
I wish you luck throughout the season, and congratulations on getting back to your alma mater and trying to get this program going.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
We'll post the entire interview on all of our social media platforms this Friday. That's going to do it for this week's show. Join us next week when we talk 9-6A. That is the Garland and Wiley ISD district, which contains 9 teams. You can keep up with everything on the high school football scene on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube accounts. Until next time, I am Ashley Boynton, and thank you for watching the show.